Travis Thomas, George Balekji. I'm Boston has entered the chat in the PNC Bank studio. I love it.
I know.
I just gotta.
I never even really know where I'm going either. I just
Start a sentence, don't know where it's going to end.
No, pretty much. Welcome to the jungle, everyone.
That's what it is. Wherever you're listening, please like, subscribe, download, rate, review. Head over to Nesson's YouTube page. Hit the subscribe button as well. Follow us on all the social channels, too. He's Double T. I'm GB. He starts sentences, as do I. We never know where they're going to finish. Right now, we have no idea how this Patriots season is going to finish. And, man, topic of conversation this entire week has nothing to do with the play on the field. It's all about the quotes after their game, the most recent loss against the Jaguars. And now it's Bill Belichick and Tom Brady taking shots at Jerod Mayo. We'll get into that.
Yep.
We also go through our weekly power rankings as well. We got an Ask the Chat. And our guy, Kamari Morales, tight end for BC, stops by, talk some Florida high school football, talk some Drake Maye. He played with him at UNC.
That's right.
And, of course, he talks some BC matching up with Louisville this Friday. We got all that and more right here on the chat. Man, let's get right into it. So, we all know how Bill Belichick, his time in New England came to end, was an amicable, mutual parting
allegedly
of ways.
Right.
And then Robert Kraft went on the Breakfast Club, had his long interview where he made sure within the first minute to say, call me Thundercat or RKK.
Dumb.
And also said, I didn't like it that I had to fire him. And then once that happened, Bill Belichick, he's gone gloves off. He made comments on the Pat McAfee show about Jerod Mayo's soft comments after the Jags loss. Then he went on the Let's Go podcast with Tom Brady and Jim Gray. This is what Bill Belichick said most recently, T. Quote, I think when you criticize your team publicly like that, it doesn't always go over well. Ultimately, I always felt that when the team played bad, that was my responsibility.
Sounds like a real head coach there.
Accountability.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you and I have talked about this too. With Bill, I feel like outside of one pretty extreme case, I feel like for the most part, guys didn't get in trouble. They flew straight. Everyone knew their role, accountability. There was really no need for Bill to stand up there after a loss at that podium, because he didn't give you much anyways, right, in terms of sound bites.
Yeah.
There's really no need for him to stand up there and start calling names and saying my team's soft and blaming guys and, the execution wasn't there and all this kind of stuff. Bill, for the most part, didn't talk anyways, but he would always, I'll give him this credit, he would take those arrows from the media. And it's one of the reasons why he was so powerful, because he would take the arrows from the media and also take the air out of the room in terms of if you thought you were going to pin Bill Belichick in a corner with your questioning or anything like that. He just wasn't going to allow you to bottle him in that way that we have already seen Jerod Mayo 5 minutes into the job do multiple times.
Burn some cash.
Yes, burn some cash, putting his foot in his mouth. Remember the whole Judon stuff? We called that out day by day. Every day it was a different saga. Remember Judon acting out at practice?
Matthew Judon basically holding court of, this is what I want in free agency, this is why I'm unhappy. Devon Godshaw did the same thing.
Yes.
And then we even see the recent of KJ Osborne posting quotes from his agent about call me and get me out.
That's right.
And then Jerod Mayo triple down of the guys are going to talk out there publicly.
Right.
He's letting them be them,
yes,
but he
is.
doesn't have the control that
That's
a head coach
exactly
needs.
Right. And then we heard of the ping pong table and guys riding their bikes in the locker room. So Jerod Mayo from the beginning has taken this sort of opposite approach of what Bill Belichick brought to the table. Now, I understand that. After breakups, you usually go with someone that's the complete opposite, even though Jerod Mayo's a Belichick disciple. But listen, this is par for the course at this point in time, because we know Belichick did not love the ending here in New England. I know everyone put on a happy face, but clearly Bill felt a type of way about being shown the door, and all of us would. So I understand that. This is a quintessential case of kick a man when he's down. The Patriots stink. Jerod Mayo has already lost control of this team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And not to say that guys can't go out and get in trouble on their own and that Jerod Mayo controls every little thing that all these players do, but between the off-the-field stuff and the on-the-field stuff
and the social media,
it is clear that Jerod Mayo has lost control.
Yep.
And so, look, if things maybe ended a little better here and Bill didn't have some feelings, maybe he just kind of gives you what he always does, at least as a coach, sort of nothing, right? And he just kind of says, hey, I'm always rooting for Tom Brady does this. I'm always rooting for the Patriots, and I wish him luck. He's not going to do that because there are feelings involved. He does not like the way that it ended here. And so he's taking his shot to Jerod Mayo. I was not shocked at all to see this from him, to see these comments from him. And listen, quite frankly, he's right. Not just that. Not only was I not surprised to see the comments and hear him double down, as you said, but he's absolutely right. He's been right across the board. Do I think it's a little distasteful to do this right now to Jerod Mayo? And you two are supposedly close? Yeah, I do. But I also understand where it's coming from. The root of it is Bill is hurt.
Yeah.
He feels as though, look what I did with the same team, which is not the same team, by the way. We can get into that. But for the most part, it's the same team, and look what I was able to do, and look what you go to this guy to be your savior, and he's anything but.
Yeah.
So it's rooted in pain. Hurt people hurt people. You understand? And that's what's happening here.
Jerod Mayo is the tackling dummy, I guess you could say, or he is the bystander in this that's catching the strays, where he's the easy target.
Yep.
This is going at Robert Kraft.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick's always been this way. He's petty. And he will punch low and punch down whenever he gets a chance and take his subliminal shots. But Robert Kraft baked into Jerod Mayo's contract, you're the successor.
Right.
When Jerod Mayo was still a co-GM of the defense.
5 years ago, allegedly.
No, the 5 years ago is the BS. That's just it was BS. It was B, F, and S. But once he baked that into his contract, and once Jerod Mayo had that guarantee that he was going to be the head coach, because he was handpicked as Robert Kraft's guy, right? Treats him like a son, all that. And then Robert Kraft goes to Bill Belichick. You're done. I'm firing you, but we're going to go out and say mutual parting of ways. This is how we're going to do it.
Yep.
And we're going to part ways, and we'll make it seem amicable. And we're not getting a divorce. We're just separating. We're still friends. We still love each other, but not like that.
Right.
That's how Robert Kraft painted everything. It's always rainbows and sunshine with him and butterflies, and it's not.
Right.
This is Bill Belichick making sure to call out a bad head coach right now, but more importantly, going really at that bad head coach, because that's the head coach for Robert Kraft.
Yeah, fair.
Bill Belichick, the GM, got Bill Belichick, the head coach, fired. But for Robert Kraft to ask, everything's okay, how he handled it as well, this is Bill getting petty, getting personal, getting dirty with it, doing it through the media, not caring, and he's going at Robert Kraft and Jerod Mayo when he makes these types of comments. For him to go out, too, say, that would be my responsibility if they're playing soft, to call out players name by name and go, they're not soft.
Right.
They hear that and they go, that's our guy.
Yeah, and
that's
he's
Bill.
like, I feel bad for them.
That's Bill. Again, Belichick, the GM, lost head coach Belichick the job. Those players still loved him as a head coach. Both sides of the ball still loved Bill.
Yep.
He doesn't care what he's doing. He's just pouring gas on the fire right now. Then Tom Brady comes out and basically says, he was like, you've said it, coach, on the podcast. You can't run the ball. You can't stop it. No kick coverage. That is what defines a tough team.
Yep.
And they're not doing that. Then Devin McCourty comes up and ask about toughness. He goes, toughness isn't a skill set. You don't need to be fast or do anything special to be tough. The second part of that is, why, Jerod? Why is this team not tough? When you hear a team isn't tough and they are soft, you think, what is the head coach doing? How is he getting them ready to go?
Yep.
Mayo and that staff have a lot of questions to answer going into the next week. And they haven't been tough the last 5 weeks. You go back to that Jets game. They were run all over. And 3 out of the last 5 games, they've produced nothing on the ground. The last 2 games, Drake Maye's been their leading rusher. This past week, he was their leading rusher, 18 yards. He got 15 on one scramble. Then you have Ty Law going on radio saying, that's right, they're not tough. Tom Brady, Devin McCourty saying this. It is looking awful for the Patriots.
Well, think about this. From a Jerod Mayo standpoint, you sort of invite this when you walk back comments. This is why, remember, when the soft thing came out and he said what he said, you and I both said, well, that's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how this plays out. And then he walks it back and we go, no, that's a worse. Listen, even if you're wrong, okay, in your position you are in, sir, you just got to double down on being wrong, okay? Say it with your chest twice. Yeah, we're soft. Call your guys out and own it, Because the second you start, well, that's not really, what I was saying was, what had happened was, oh, now you're inviting the criticism, not only from within with your own players, but all these legends we're seeing, right?
Yeah.
McCourty, Ty Law, Brady, Belichick. So I just think Jerod Mayo, again, I've been saying it from the beginning here, unfortunately, because I want the guy to win. I think he's in over his head, George. I do. And it's even walking back the soft comment is yet another example that we have of that, where he's just, I don't know if the moment's too big or he just wasn't ready. He didn't have enough experience as a coach or what the hell. But it's probably a number of things. But listen, this is the reality of it. You start walking back comments, you're inviting outside criticism now, and it's coming at him from every angle.
And what's big is when Devin McCourty says, what is the head coach doing when you hear a team isn't tough?
Right.
Jerod Mayo was asked on his Monday morning spot on the Greg Hill show, obviously, do you feel like you're doing your job? And he said, I think I am. He's saying, our record isn't reflecting that, but as far as practice and demanding a lot from the players, I'm doing my job. How can you say you're doing your job if your team is getting beat at the line of scrimmage 5 straight games on the defensive side of the ball, which you coach and is in your expertise, and you're dealing with injuries, Barmore, Bentley, Peppers, literally all 3 levels. Peppers is different, not an injury, not a good situation for him, but he's away from the team. Given all of this happening, and I give you credit, T, because you go, he can't be the head coach if they finish like this. And I say he will be because the owner cares too much about optics. The second Jerod Mayo is hired, I said this is a 3-4 win team, and there will be improvement. I'm wrong on that. There hasn't been improvement.
No.
They've taken a step back.
Yeah.
But this is a 3-year plan because it's Robert Kraft and everything is sunshine and rainbows. Recent report by Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal. He was on Felger and Maz. He was asked if the organization is concerned about Mayo and the team. He said there were second guesses over the summer. While Mayo's return isn't guaranteed if the season continues to collapse, many, including Mayo, could be fired. So over the summer, very bland, very broad, but that takes me into training camp. When Matt Judon's holding court, when Devon Godshaw is waxing poetic, when Matt Judon is just walking however he wants on the training camp field, on the practice field, then going up and talking to Elliot Wolf and Matt Groh himself on top of the walk back of comments, putting his foot in his mouth. And the many, including Mayo, could be fired if this collapse continues and the season gets worse, which is hard to see. That's Elliot Wolf. That's the leader of your front office. That is Jerod Mayo, and that is cleaning house on the coaching staff. Because out of these coaches, I don't know who wants to stay.
I mean, listen, bro. I've been consistent with it because I've just seen it. And you and I both have covered this league long enough. I don't give a damn what Robert Kraft says, and he's my friend, and I knew this many years ago. This is a what have you done for me lately bottom line business. It ain't personal. It's business, okay? So you just said, I mean, if this team wins 4 games, he should keep his job. They ain't winning 4 damn games. Go down the schedule and find me the wins. I'll wait. I'll give you 1 maybe with the Titans. Maybe. But they just made a quarterback change, and that could be for the better because that kid Will Levis stinks.
And that means they're going to be running the ball, which, by the way, you can't stop.
Which you can't stop. So I'm not even willing to give the Titans game, but go down the schedule and find me 3 more wins. You can't. You can't, okay? And if you do, I'm going to argue with you for all of them. I think this is a 1 or 2 win team. In this league, you are fired, and your whole staff is fired. And by the way, now we know Drake Maye can play. You don't stick with this damn coaching staff that can't develop. You can't trust this coaching staff to develop this kid. You got to clean house.
Out the best of them.
Right. You got to clean house and bring in an offensive-minded coach, which some of us were saying you should have hired from the beginning, but that's another podcast for many more days in the future where we remind you that we were right. But you got to move off with this coaching staff and Elliot Wolf, potentially, depending on how the season goes, and bring in some people in here that can build around this kid and develop this kid.
Think about what got me with this is in jeopardy. Is, again, it hit me Tuesday morning, really, when I'm still looking back at the Jags game, still going through everything. And all we talked about after that Jaguars game, Trav, when Drake Maye threw for 276 yards and 2 touchdowns and looked great, was what the players are saying, what the players are doing after the game. And that is a head coach that's in over his head.
Good point.
And that is a head coach that is losing it.
That's a good point.
And then even think about Jalen Polk right now, dealing with his drops, being dumb on social media. And KJ Osborne being dumb on social media. Jalen Polk was the first real draft pick for Elliott Wolf. If it was Jaden Daniels or Drake Maye at 3, Patriots, you pick either quarterback. That's an easy one. Everyone and their mother saw that coming. That first real draft pick is Jalen Polk. He's been terrible. Your next real draft pick, Caden Wallace, who's supposed to be a left tackle. He's not a left tackle. Your next real draft pick, Elliott Wolf, is Layden Robinson. He was benched.
Not good enough.
Injuries, tough cards dealt. Chuks Okorafor was your big free agency signing. He left the team after a game.
That's right.
KJ Osborne, supposed to help in this receiving room.
Nothing.
Been a non-factor. And he's asking, get me out of here.
That's right.
Miscalculations by the front office. Mishandlings by the head coach. I'm not surprised by this. The only reason, and because in my gut, in my heart, I have to do it because A, I'm stubborn, and B, I'm stupid, is that he won't get fired because Robert Kraft is the owner. But if that's the only reason I can give a head coach not to be fired, you know what? You know what he should be? Fired.
Facts.
So I understand where you're coming from. These reports don't completely surprise me. More in-depth conversations on the Patriots. As always, check out Foxborough Rush. That's everything you need, Pats. New episodes dropping every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, wherever you get your podcast. Friday's episode will be a fun one. We'll have Michael Lombardi, of course, a friend of Bill Belichick, but of course, always has a pulse of the NFL. As a front office exec on the show as well. Excited to ask him about these new reports.
Absolutely.
And also, like, going through the resume. This is us producing on the fly a little as we do the show. All right, so normally we do power rankings. We're going to do low. No, I'm joking. We're doing power rankings. Low rankings. That's Pat's dead last.
I'll roll with you. You know that all day.
Now, let's get to our power rankings through 7 games or 7 weeks more of. We'll go 10 to 1.
All right.
Who's your 10 spot?
I'm going Eagles here. First time being in my top
me too,
10.
yes.
Yeah, I just think, and you and I have talked about this, their roster's so damn talented. They have just been underachieving. You want to talk about coaches. I think Sirianni's a big reason for that. But again, every week, even though he's not doing a great job coaching that team, their talent is so palpable that it's like when they win, it's just clear that they are just a more talented football team than the opposition. They are getting by in spite of their head coach, but they're just too damn talented for me to leave off of this list.
It's almost like if you have all the talent, the roster stuff checked out, you bring in the right head coach, cleans things up, keeps guys in line, gets the defense to show up, he could break the all-time wins record for you. Do you have history? The Eagles have history.
Eagles have history.
Belichick likes history.
Good ownership.
Yeah. Great front office. We'll see. Again, my concern is how Bill Belichick builds a coaching staff, but it's a landing spot.
That market won't bother him. Those fans won't bother him. That's a good spot. He doesn't give a damn. That's a good spot.
I have the Eagles at 10 as well. And to be honest with you, after 9, it really is. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
I think there's 9 good teams in the NFL. There's different tiers. But like that Eagles spot at 10, they just make it because they're the best bad team. So talented. Because that defensive line worries me. The offense, because Sirianni being interfering way too much still worries me. And they win games like this where it could, I think the sooner they fire Nick Sirianni and they let Kellen Moore just take over the offense. I don't even know who'd be the head coach in that situation. Just let him take over the offense and actually run his system. Call plays the way he does, the better for the Eagles. 9 spot for me, Chicago Bears.
Same.
Keep winning. Defense is legit. They're getting better.
Playoffs,
Caleb's getting more settled in. They're running the ball. They check every box for me. And that is a coaching staff. You know what it shows me? That's a coaching staff that has accountability. How bad Shane Waldron was the first few weeks, he changed it.
He did.
Forcing the ball to certain guys. Yeah, you pay Gerald Everett, just get Cole Kmet involved. And Caleb rolling with the punches, especially in that wide receiver room, which is deep, but dealing with injuries, getting stuff done.
Hey, Bears go to Washington this week, coming off the bye. I think they go into Washington and get that win. I really do. And I know a lot of fans in Washington wanted Caleb there to be the quarterback. That's where he's from. It didn't work out. They got Jaden. It worked out pretty good for them. But I think on Sunday, Caleb will be the better player, not Jaden. Number 8, I'm going to go Steelers here. I told you that I thought the move to Russell Wilson would torpedo their season, and they should have stuck with Justin Fields. I am here right now to tell you I was completely wrong, because if Russell Wilson can stay upright and look like he did in that win for the Steelers, in his first start, that offense looked like a real offense, like an actual NFL offense. If he's able to stay healthy, they might be cooking with something there. So another example of Mike Tomlin being smarter than the rest of us.
Well said.
Yeah.
All of us got a piece of humble pie.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Where Justin Fields is playing well. He was taking care of the football.
They were
had
winning.
a dynamic ceiling, and they were 4-2. We're all like, how do you change a quarterback?
Man.
That was still a bottom 10 offense.
Yep.
Yardage, scoring, everything. So he saw a spot where they can get better.
That's right.
And I didn't think Russell Wilson would get pulled mid-game because that'd be ridiculous to have that type of leash.
Sure.
But first 2 drives looked really ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Rest of the game looked great. Mm-hmm. And you see just the simplicity of, for what Russell Wilson's doing, which I think you can't overlook in certain quarterbacks.
Yep.
Throw it up to a playmaker, let him make a play. That's Russell Wilson and George Pickens.
That's right.
He took care of the football last year with the Broncos. Playing for a head coach absolutely hated him. Still took care of the football, smart with it. Less agile, less mobile, yes, but still going out and doing his thing. Because of that defense, I like the Steelers team, but I have them ahead of the Commanders. Commanders are the 8th spot for me.
Okay.
The difference is the defense between the two.
Sure.
But we saw a Commanders team and Marcus Mariota win a game. Jaden Daniels went down after the first drive with an injury. He was okay. We'll see if he does play Sunday.
I think he'll be
His mom
fine.
is like making reports herself, which I think is hilarious in a good way. But I have the Commanders at that 8th spot, but then I have the Steelers at the 7.
Yeah, I just swapped. I have Commanders at 7, but not a lot of arguments there. I get your reasoning for it. I just have Commanders there because I'd rather have Jaden Daniels than Russell Wilson any day of the week these days.
So 6th spot, I got my Green Bay Packers.
Wow.
My adoptive.
I thought
Green
they
Bay
would be
Packers.
higher on your list.
That run defense still concerns me, and Jordan loves turning the ball over a lot.
Okay.
Huge win for them at home against the Texans, where the defense did hold C.J. Stroud to under 100 yards passing. Absolutely insane what they did. Tough, grinded out game. Took a lot of good game management, which you need from Matt LaFleur and to see.
Yep.
But just because I'm still looking at full body of works, we're figuring these teams out. Jordan Love still concerns me a tad. I just have him at the 6th spot, but Texans are right ahead at 5.
All right, I have the Bills at my 6th spot. I love the move for Amari Cooper. I just think it was the right move. They're running the ball better. I think the Bills, I wish they hadn't lost as much as they did in the offseason on their defense, because I think this maybe, if their defense was their usual dominant selves, this maybe could be the year for the Bills where the Chiefs are a little vulnerable. But I think their defense took too many losses for me to go to that route. But I like this Bills team. I have them at 6.
My 5 spot, Texans. Running the ball really well. Defense is really good. They're coming off an L, but they just check so many boxes.
Yep.
And Nico Collins doesn't separate them from winning or losing games. He does have a big impact on the offense. But this team is still playing close games against really good competition like the Packers and without their best receiver, who's one of the best in the NFL this season. So I like the Texans at the 5 spot.
This one was hard for me. I have the Ravens at 5, and I feel like you can make a case for them to be top 3. But, I mean, if Lamar and Derrick Henry are humming, I just don't even know if you can beat that team.
Yeah.
I really don't. And so I'm at the point now, I just want to see it from Lamar once we get to January. But the Ravens are 5. They feel like they can really rattle off a bunch of wins right now. I have my eye on them to just continue to stay hot.
Ravens are running the ball. Lamar's been great.
Bro.
The defense is just good enough.
Serviceable.
But Derrick Henry is a different factor that shows up in the playoffs too. Of if you control the clock, if you control possession because of what Derrick Henry provides and how fresh he looks.
That's right.
And then just Lamar, when he's on, is as good as anyone. He had 5 touchdown passes.
They're going to be dangerous, bro.
Absurd. And Zay Flowers had 1 catch. He was kept in check and 5 touchdown passes. My 4 spot, though, I go to the Vikings. Lost to the Lions. Defense is really good.
Yep.
This top 4 for me is really hard to split, aside from the number 1, but I just have the Vikings at the 4th spot. It's really more them coming off an L.
I couldn't wait to drop them out of my top 10. I told you every week I had them at 1. They kept winning, and I was like, I can't wait till the
Vikings in your
drop
top 10.
them out. I couldn't wait.
You don't have
them
the Vikings
losing. I was waiting for a week. Get them out of there.
To the Lions.
Get them out of there.
You don't have them in the top 10?
Bye. Now they're talking about trading for Stafford. Your season's over.
I called myself stubborn and stupid.
Yeah.
Well,
All
right, I'll leave it at that.
I mean, it's my 10. 4, I'm going Texans for everything you said.
All right.
I still, look, spoiler alert, I have the Chiefs 1. You should too. I mean, they're not losing games. But I still, outside of Lamar, I think the Texans are going to give the Chiefs a run for their money once we get to the postseason. The more I watch this team, I'm starting to believe more and more. I have the Texans at 4.
You got the pass rushers.
They check every box.
Both starting linebackers are out against the Packers. That can't be overlooked against the Texans. Azeez Al-Shaair and Toa Toa.
Facts.
Huge going against the defense and that quarterback. 3 spot for me is the Ravens. We spoke about it. But they just keep showing up and keep winning. After their 0-2 start, they've just been absolute nails.
Yep.
This team is constructed so well. And it's Lamar, again, putting together an MVP season. Like, he's been the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yep.
The addition of Derrick Henry, which changes the whole offense. And Lamar's still an MVP-level quarterback, with the defense just good enough. I have the Ravens at the 3.
All right, 3, I'm going your Packers.
Wow.
I hear you, what you're saying as far as your concerns, but I think you're being overly critical because you've been on them and you have certain expectations for them.
Yeah.
As someone who, I never argued with you really about – I understood the Packers' vision. Another team I like more in that division, but – I see it now.
Yeah.
And listen, by the way, all your concerns are fair, but I think this Packers team, much like the Texans, they check every box as well. And I could see them being there when the smoke clears in the NFC as well once we get to when it counts.
2 spots, Lions. Jared Goff is awesome against a blitz, awesome against pressure, against the best defense in the NFL and the Vikings.
Yep.
When David Montgomery had that fumble that was scooped and scored for a touchdown, I was like, the Lions are dead. First game without Aiden Hutchinson, their best defensive player. They found a way to pull out a win over the Vikings, who are one of the best teams in the NFL.
Yep. Absurd
to not be in your top 10. But I'm just giving you slack at this point.
Yeah, screw them.
The Lions continue to win. And it's a team that's 2 now. Trade deadline coming up. You mentioned the Matt Staffords are rumored out there. The Cooper Kupps are rumored out there. We'll see what pass rushers are rumored out there. They need to add on the back end. They need to add at their defensive line. But they check everything off on offense, and that offense is covering up for a lot of deficiencies. It's great. Jameer Gibbs was phenomenal, but Jared Goff is even better, and that's saying a lot, especially against that defense.
Facts. Yeah, listen, I agree with you. I am it too. I think they have to get a pass rusher, and not just that, a premier one. I mean, if you can get a Max Crosby or a Myles Garrett, I feel really good about my Lions Super Bowl ticket. If you don't get either and you just get some guy, I don't feel good about that ticket at all. So, I have my eye on the Lions big time to see what they do at the deadline. They must go get a premier pass rusher for me to still believe they can go to and win the Super Bowl. Number 1's the Chiefs, right? Come on.
The best thing I can say about a defense is they smother. They're smothering. Yeah. The Chiefs drown you with that defense.
Yeah, they do.
You can't breathe.
That's a great defense.
And you can't live.
That's right.
I understand Deebo Samuel was sick, in and out.
Yeah.
Ayuk goes down with a torn ACL.
Yeah.
I understand it all. And what's happened, but that Chiefs defense just drowns their opponent and that opposing offense, and it says so much about them.
Absolutely.
Lock and step, agree with me, Chiefs won?
Yeah, how could you not? I mean, look, I'll say this. I don't think they're going to get a 3rd straight Super Bowl. Still. I don't care. Every week I watch them win. Mahomes pulls a rabbit out of the hat.
They had a pass catcher, though. They had a pass catcher.
Who changes the game? They get a Cooper Kupp.
They won with Kadarius Toney, Mecole Hardman.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I think by the time we get there, I feel like, and I said this after they lost Tyreek Hill and it didn't matter, but I feel like there's going to be a game where they need somebody, playmaker, whether it's taking the top off over the top or it's someone they just get it too quick, it can make people miss in a phone booth.
Yeah.
They don't have either. And I think there's going to be a game, if it's Lamar, if it's the Texans, I don't know. But it's going to be a situation where a team is standing in the middle of the ring with you, exchanging shots, and you need that knockout punch, and they just don't have it. They don't have it. And I think it's going to catch up to them. But I said the same thing after Tyreek was gone, and 2 Super Bowls later.
They're 6-0, and Mahomes has not been good.
He's
barely breaking 200 yards.
Yeah.
He's not throwing
touchdowns. He's just making the plays when you need him.
You have a defense that drowns opponents, and you have the guy, when the moment is biggest, the lights are the brightest, and you need a clutch play, you know he's going to pull.
And you have Andy Reid.
I just can't doubt it. I ducked him down from my one spot. I should put him back up.
How can you not?
And it's that defense.
I still don't trust him, though. Big picture.
I don't trust him. but I just can't say it with my full chest.
Yeah.
Because I still believe in him. So
Right.
in a way, I still trust him. Hey, make sure to call in the chat hotline, 617-790-0928 to leave a voicemail, or email us, thechat@nesson.com. Got an email here from an anonymous emailer. He asked, which wide receiver had a bigger impact on his new team? Amari Cooper or Davante Adams? I think we should go with this one on had/will have.
Will have, yeah.
Love this email. Love this question. So Amari Cooper, 4 catches, 66 yards, touchdown. Bills win.
Yep.
Davante Adams, 3 catches, 30 yards. Jets loss.
Right.
Let's just start with this one because you're the guy that's right in this one compared to what we've said.
Yeah.
Which one do you think will have a bigger impact on their team?
I mean, obviously, it's still too early to know for sure definitively based off of those numbers. But I said at the time that the trades went down that Amari Cooper is a better fit with the Bills because the way I see it, you know, Davante going to his old pal and Aaron Rodgers is all cute and everything in the world of bromance. But at the end of the day, they don't have a real coach there, A. Yep. B, Aaron Rodgers is running the asylum there, okay? So I see this as Davante Adams could actually be disruptive to the Jets offense in a bad way. You have 2 capable running backs that they're not running in Hall and Allen. You have a sus offensive line. Rodgers doesn't have the most time you've ever seen in the world back there. You have a budding young superstar in Garrett Wilson that now he's going to – I mean, you're taking some targets away from him just off GP.
9 targets for Adams.
Just off GP by bringing in Davante. And then Davante is the kind of guy, especially with Rodgers being his boy, that's going to be like, hey, keep feeding me, keep coming back to me. We're going to make a play. And sometimes that can disrupt an offense when you're trying to force it to one guy. So I look at Amari Cooper as he was miserable in Cleveland and wanted to get the hell out of Dodge. So you could have traded him to any damn where, and he would have been happy just to leave Cleveland. So now he goes to a contender in the Bills that need his services. Josh Allen, not the same pain in the arse as Aaron Rodgers. They have, even though I'm not a big fan of their head coach, they have a bona fide, legitimate head coach. I think Amari Cooper is going to have the better fit and the bigger impact over time than Davante will with the Jets.
Amari Cooper and Davante Adams. Davante Adams is the better receiver.
He is.
Amari Cooper's in the better situation with the better quarterback.
He is.
And therefore will have a bigger impact because he's lifting up that offense.
All right.
It's because Josh Allen is still top 3 at the position. You can say number 2. He's doing a lot, but they run the ball like you said. They're finding ways to win. Yeah. And Amari Cooper is that key piece for an offense that had no one that could generate separation outside of Khalil Shakur.
Yep.
With Davante Adams and the Jets, it was one game, but this is a Jets team that keeps looking at number 8 under center and going, when are you going to fix this? When are you going to fix everything? When are you going to own the team? When are you going to fix the defense? When are you going to fix the offensive line? They think he can be the solution to everything, and he can't. He's not that guy at 40 years old in this stage in his career. Because Aaron Rodgers is a shell of himself, Amari Cooper will have the bigger impact on his team. Josh Allen needed him.
Yeah.
But he's playing with the better quarterback. So Amari Cooper is going to he's going to add to the offense. Davante Adams won't be able to add to the offense because he's still not that special. Davante should have went to Baltimore. He should have went to the Ravens. But like you said, I want to be with my best buds. I want to go to Vegas with Derek Carr. I want to go to New York with Aaron Rodgers.
I threw in the Steelers too. He would, with Russell Wilson playing that way now, he'd have been a nice. Okay, so Bills get Amari Cooper. Tua's coming back for the Dolphins. Jets are 2-5.
Yep.
You still feel like they're making a postseason?
No.
You're willing to punt now.
And just this team is just lost.
Yeah.
This team is lost.
I'm proud of you, man.
That defense lets the Pittsburgh put up 37 on them. And what was I always big on?
Defense.
Yep. I'll start looking at bottles of wine again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just proud of
Can
you
I have a glass?
for this kind of course.
Okay.
Because of this growth, we can share the bottle of wine, man.
My man.
You needed Jets rehab. And you know what? I'm just so glad that you went to it and you got the help you needed. And look at you now.
But you know what's funny?
Oh, here we go.
You picked the Jets in that game, and I picked the Steelers.
Facts.
But that loss, the way it looked, that's what took it out.
It was lifeless.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's what happens when you have an old, washed-up quarterback, high on shrooms, being your GM, your coach, your offensive coordinator. Is he making concessions too?
Your head of marketing.
I mean, what's he doing? I mean, come on, Rodgers. Just go away and let the Jets rebuild like they always do.
I feel like he should go, just retire to, European football.
No, he's going to go to his darkness retreat in the woods.
Yeah, like Berlin or Ibiza, though. Find a team based out of there and just do that.
Wherever you go, Aaron,
whatever XFL team's in Portland. That's for him.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Wherever you go, Aaron, good riddance. I'm sick of you.
Hey, we'll leave you guys with this interview with Boston College's tight end, Amari Morales. Great dude. You're going to love the convo. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow on Boston Has Entered the Chat. He's Kamari Morales, tight end for Boston College. Kamari, appreciate you hopping on the chat. How are we doing today, my man?
I'm doing great. How about yourselves?
Doing great. We're excited to talk some BC football with y'all. So I know you guys are looking to put that loss against UVA behind you. That one's on the road. Coming back home this Friday, hosting Louisville. That's an offense that can put up points just like you guys. Mm-hmm. How much you look forward to this matchup, having the Cardinals come to town to Boston College and the Heights?
I just look forward to being back in front of, the home stadium. We've been on the road for the last 2 weeks, so I'm just really excited to get back into our stadium, and get back into the winning column, and it'd just be a great thing to do, especially in front of our home crowd.
I'm glad to hear you talk about that game, because now I want to take you back to your old team. You played alongside Drake Maye at UNC, and I have a lot of questions about this. So let's just start with what made him special in your eyes. What did you see from Drake Maye during your time there where you were like, okay, this kid, he could play. He's got it figured out?
He was just so smart. The game was it was very slow to him. When he first got there, you can kind of tell that he had definitely come up, from a great football family. So he was just a really smart player from the get-go. And then just seeing that jump that he made from his true freshman year to his redshirt freshman year, you kind of saw like, yeah, this kid, he's got something. He definitely had the arm talent, definitely had the touch. He has all the intangibles, but I think bigger than all of that, he's a great leader. He knows how to talk to people, knows how to bring people together. So I think that's really what kind of like set him apart.
I love that you bring up the leadership that Drake Maye brings to the field, because you said it. We see the arm strength, we see his athleticism. Mm-hmm. There's everything that he provides that made him a top 3 pick. But as a leader, a guy that spent a few seasons around Drake Maye, caught plenty of touchdowns from him, plenty of passes. But what was it like, Drake Maye, the leader you'd see on the sidelines, in the huddle, and even away from the football field?
Drake was one of those people. He was never too up. He was never too down. And he showed up every day, and he gave it his all. He never quit on the team, not one time, whether things were, bad or whatever the case may be. Off the field, just a great, personable dude. Never, ever got in trouble, not one time. Somebody that you didn't see out. He doesn't go out. I mean, he was just a football junkie. He loves ball. He's just a great dude overall.
Kamari, have you checked out his first few games with the Patriots? I mean, we don't need to talk about the team, but certainly Drake has looked pretty good. Have you been surprised if you have checked him out with his performance, or did you see it coming?
No, I'm not surprised by anything that he does at all. I mean, I've seen it, not just in practice, but whenever we would get, even like work with just the receivers and the tight ends, you kind of get to see who they really are, because there's no coaches around, so they can really kind of freestyle and just try new stuff to see if it'll work. So, like, I've really seen him craft and get in the lab and do all type of crazy stuff. So nothing he does, really surprises me.
Man, I love hearing that about a guy that is as gifted as they can be, but you're talking about his work ethic and how hard he works. You have any great stories about Drake Maye from your time with him at UNC?
I just think I do actually.
Oh, let's go.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
This more so speaks to the character of who he is. So his first touchdown that he got at USC was to me. We were playing Wofford. He threw it to me in the flat. Boom, I scored. And obviously that wasn't my first touchdown, but I wanted him to keep the ball. So I literally celebrated with my team, of course. And then he came over and I said, hey, keep this. And the first thing he does is toss the ball to the ref. I'm looking like, bro, are you serious? I'm like, are you serious, bro? Like, I gave this to you. I wanted you to have this. He just tossed the ball to the ref. I'm like, bro, this dude's ridiculous. I trying to have a great teammate moment. Like that,
Right.
he can have that forever. He can say, "This was my first ever college touchdown." Gives it to the ref.
That's
awesome.
an upperclassman looking out
Yeah.
for the freshman QB.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking. He probably wish he had that ball now.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, bro. You know, I'm looking at this. Drake Maye, I'm looking at measurables, Kamari. Drake Maye, 6'4", 225. We know he can move. Big body, stand in the pocket, strong arm, all that. Thomas Castellanos, 5'9", 196, but a playmaker in his own right.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, dual threat, makes things happen. Can you talk about going from like this almost prototypical quarterback in Drake Maye to what you have now in TC? Because, I mean, he's making plays out there, Kamari. What's been the biggest difference in the styles and the quarterback? I want you to talk about your playmaking quarterback now.
I would say, the biggest difference is obviously their feet. The things that Tommy can do with the ball in his hand in terms of like being a runner. He's a more dynamic runner than Drake, obviously. And Drake was he was a good runner. He got what he needed to get. He was never asked to go out there and just do design runs. Like, no, that's not what he was asked to do. But Tommy, on the other hand, he can throw the ball, he can run the ball, he can do it all, very efficiently. So I think that's really like the biggest difference between the two. Both of them can throw the ball very well. But I think Thomas's, ability with his feet really kind of sets him apart, makes him a really great playmaker.
What's that like as a pass catcher, learning to play with Thomas Castellanos, where we know what's been so great about him this year in Bill O'Brien's system with all you guys is on schedule, on rhythm, playing in the system. But, man, when you need him to go off schedule, he can make magic happen. So what's it been like learning to have the chemistry of Castellanos and then also applying that to the games as we've seen this season?
With Tommy, the play is never over.
Yeah.
So it might be a scramble drill, it might be pressure, and he's back there, he's moving, and he's making people miss, and he still has his eyes on the field, being able to deliver a ball. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit where I messed up. For example, you can go back and look at it. You can look at the Virginia game, and I screwed up in pass protection. I'm supposed to block the corner. He comes through free, and I'm like, oh, God, this is not going to end well. I turn around. Tommy made the dude miss, throws the ball down the field. It's a first down. So I'm sitting there like, thank you, bro. Like, you made me right. I mean, I still got ripped for it, but at least it's a positive play, So it's great when you have somebody like him back there that can kind of, right your wrongs a little bit.
Kamari, I'm from the DMV, and I love it there. But Lord knows, I'm so happy to see your football team out of Virginia because we got to get the hell out of there, man. 2 losses in a row. Can you talk to me about what your head coach, Bill O'Brien, what's the messaging like trying to get the team back on track? Because everything was looking good. Now you got a couple losses in a row. I have to imagine he's trying to get you guys back on a winning track.
His message to us is, we just got to come in every single day and we got to work. We're one team. I think that's his, biggest message to us. We're one team. We're not individuals. We're not, offense, defense, or special teams. We're BC football. And as a family, we have to figure it out. We have to figure out ways to go win. We have to figure out if somebody, if they make a mistake, we have to figure out a way to make them right. So that's really been his biggest message.
Between you playing at UNC and you now playing at Boston College, you've been around 2 big-time head coaches in football, period.
Yep.
Doesn't matter the level. What's it been like learning from Bill O'Brien as you spent your time around him now with Boston College?
It's been a huge blessing. Nothing shy of a blessing. Just learning ball from such a great coach, somebody who's coached some of the best players to ever play the game. I mean, he's coached the best quarterback to play the game. He's coached the best receiver to play the game. He's been around a legendary head coach with Belichick. So to be around somebody that's seen ball, learned from these greats, taught these greats, it's been very amazing being able to talk to him, understand his thing.
Man, from watching you guys this season, it feels very much like your team is inconsistent. Can you talk to me about finding consistency with this team, A, and B, when you all are playing at your best, what does it look like? I mean, obviously, Georgia and I can sit here and watch the games and give our opinion, which we do every week, but you're out there playing. So how do you find consistency as a group? And also, what does Boston college football look like when it's at its best, Kamari?
In terms of finding consistency, you just got to show up and just do the right thing every single day, and that'll bleed over into the game. If you're doing the right things, in practice, getting into your game plan, understanding the game plan, it gives you the confidence to move fast, to, do things at a high level when you understand everything that's going on. So I think that, goes into being, consistent, being able to understand it, and being able to go out there and just react, go out there and play, not being able to think about too much. In terms of Boston College football, what do I think it looks like at its best? I think it looks like the defense creating turnovers and offense scoring points, and a team that's very physical. If you're a physical team that scores points and creates turnovers, you're a winning team.
Simple as that. I love
Simple.
that. Now, Kamara, I want to end with this one. I asked Trayshawn the same thing when we had him on a couple weeks ago. You went to high school in Florida, played your ball there. What is it about Florida football that makes you guys that come out of that state different than anywhere else in the country?
I think, honestly, we see so many people from the state go and play at such a high level. And growing up, you hear the stories about those people. You hear the stories about the people in your city that have gone on to play at such a high level. So it's almost like a standard. Football is a really big part of the culture, not just in the South, but in Florida. So it's more so like a standard thing. So you have to uphold that standard. Whenever you say, yeah, I'm from the state of Florida, people look at you differently. People have an expectation of you. People expect for you to be good. And we all know that, and I think we all buy into that.
Kamara, I love that. I mean, there's Florida, there's Texas, there's Jersey. And to say what you say about it. Oh, okay,
Georgia.
come on.
Georgia,
true.
I'm from the state of Florida. Let me say this.
Go ahead.
And I ain't mean to interrupt you.
Talk that talk,
bro.
Kamari. Talk your talk.
Because people love to talk about high school football and say, oh, I'm from California, we're the best. No, you're not. The best states for high school football, in my humble opinion.
Yes.
Florida, Georgia, Texas. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Alabama football is better than California football. Alabama plays ball. Do your research.
Yeah.
And Mississippi plays ball too. They just don't have a lot of players. But I want to say per capita, the state of Mississippi has the most NFL players.
Yeah, I didn't hear any Jersey on that list at all. Interesting. Huh.
So, Kamari, you gave me homework. I'm going to go look at per capita for Ole Miss. I'm giving you homework. Go talk to Savon Huggins and tell him you left Jersey off the top 5, all right?
Please.
Oh, he knows that. We've had those conversations.
Good for you.
Here we go.
Good for you.
You came ready. Hey, Kamari, I appreciate you taking the time, educating us on Georgia and Mississippi high school football, not just Florida, but also best of luck this Friday against Louisville. Give them hell, man. Appreciate you hopping on the chat.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
George is always trying to just shoehorn Jersey in every damn conversation. I'm glad he checked you.
I said
Someone
Texas
other
and
than
Florida.
me checked you for once.
Kamari's a good one, man. I appreciate
He's
him hopping
cool.
on. There's something.
He's
Trey,
very
Sean,
cool.
Kamari, something about the dudes from Florida.
Facts.
I like having him on the
Facts.
show. Thanks again to Kamari Morales of Boston College hopping on Boston as end of the chat. He's Travis Thomas. I'm George Balekji. This was the chat from the PNC Bank Studio. Wherever you get your podcast, please like, subscribe, download, rate, review, and go to Nesson's YouTube page. Hit the subscribe button as well. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow, everyone. Have a good one.